It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was E3 2019! I didn't knock anything over, you did. Hey everybody, and welcome back to I Was Right! Woohoo! Yeah! I told you I was right. I didn't want to be right. So welcome back to my E3 video that is very late because of a lot of technical and creative difficulties and absolutely had nothing to do with Monster Prom or Phoenix Wright 6. And you don't have any evidence to the contrary! Take that! So I'm going to start off by talking about the part of E3 that affected me the most. The pop exclusives. It's not really like I'm a fan or anything. Next I want to talk about another much smaller part of E3 that I really appreciate every year. The video games. Altogether, I think E3 this year was largely middling. There were a lot of conferences that either underperformed or were just okay. And I guess I'll start by talking about them in order with Microsoft. Just so there's not so much glare on you. There you go. So I said in this video, getting ready for E3 at the amusement park, that I was kind of cautious about how Microsoft's conference would turn out. Thank you so much, by the way, for all the positive reception to that video. I had a blast making it. I feel like all the feedback that I've gotten from it was that it really connected with people and that people stayed really interested in it. And I'm very glad about that because I had a really good time making it. Also, I forgot to film this in the main part of the video, but check out this awful sunburn that I got in the amusement park vlog. Oh, that's bad. I didn't have to go that hard, but I want you to know I did it for you. In that video, I said that I'm cautious about Microsoft because they are, before anything else, a computer company. So when they go to E3, they tend not to be very focused on actual new games and IPs in favor of new console technology. I cited a specific example of Xbox Project Scorpio and how they wouldn't shut up about it for like 2 years at E3, and then it came and went and no one really cared that much. And I was worried that Microsoft might be approaching their new generation of console, so they might have this press conference work the exact same way. I was correct. Microsoft presented what I thought was honestly one of the worst conferences at E3 this year, if not the worst, by overinflating their entire press conference with titles that were not Xbox exclusives and spending maybe half the time talking about the Xbox Scarlett, their next-gen console.
The combination of the SoC and the solid-state drive are really what gives you a totally new experience.
The Xbox Scarlett Johansson promises to be the most powerful Xbox ever, a thing that we've never heard from any Xbox announcement before. The Dreadlock Scarlet Witch launches holiday 2020, along with the release of a brand new Halo game, which actually looks kind of cool. My whole thing is that it really confirmed the death of the Xbox One, like I sort of hypothesized that it would. This also came compounded by the fact that Microsoft included a list of the very last titles that they'll be making available for backplay on digital download on the Xbox One, confirming sort of the final scope of what the Xbox One's catalog will be. The only things that even moderately got my attention at the conference were the trailer for Elden Ring, which is cool, but again, not exclusive, just like most of the titles shown at the conference, and we haven't really seen anything substantial out of Elden Ring so far. We just know that it's being made by George R.R. Martin and the guys from Software, which is a cool formula, but making a positive impression is all about gameplay. They also announced a camcorder-based horror game / Outlast 2 ripoff, Blair Witch, which actually looks pretty cool because I'm a huge fan of the Outlast franchise. The second one especially, I think it's a spectacular horror experience, and so I'm down to keep going at stuff like that, I guess. I don't think the setting or the format is super original based on what they've shown so far, but I'm at least intrigued. It's also a Microsoft exclusive that I think is more interesting and unique than a lot of the other properties they offer, so that's good. In my opinion, Bethesda had a lot that it needed to do with its conference right off the bat, because they're coming off of the release of Fallout 76, which was a massive failure for them on pretty much every account, so I wanted them to kind of be able to take that head on and actually show that they've changed, and that's not what happened at all. The intro to their conference was actually very tongue-in-cheek about how much of a failure Fallout 76 was. Todd Howard said he's impressed you're still here. They started off the conference with a very contrived montage about how much they love their fans, and they love their fans so much that they actually paid one to scream for the duration of the entire conference. Yeah! And in the way of things that are also terribly contrived cliches, Fallout 76 has a Battle Royale mode now, and the map limiter is even called the Storm. They also made a lot of very fluffy, unsubstantiated promises about content updates for Fallout 76 and a lot of their other titles, but none of it's super inspiring because they didn't take responsibility for anything. The only thing from the conference that I think is really worth commenting on is that I think Deathloop looks kind of cool, except I'm very disappointed that both of the characters don't have Bill Murray skins. Get on that. They also had the creative director / cutest human alive from Ghostwire Tokyo come in and talk a little bit about her game, and unfortunately, she didn't answer any of my burning questions about this dog who was left all alone in the trailer. Stop it! Don't do that dog like that! How dare you! Devolver's conference Sunday night was a bad acid trip that resulted in the birth of Carry On, the game where you play as the monster, and Devolver Bootleg, a $5 games anthology that rips off all the great games you know and love, like Hotline Milwaukee. The PC show included all of the hallmarks you would have expected it to, including two guys trying to remake Prop Hunt, an army of strategy and simulation games that no one is going to care about in 6 months, and an adult wearing fingerless gloves. The only thing that really interested me about any of it was that there was a lot of conversation about Borderlands 3, including kind of a prioritization of local multiplayer, which in my mind is like what makes that game really worth playing, or at least miles better than it is already. They've also added some quality of life updates for multiplayer and for playing multiple characters. The PC conference wouldn't be complete without advertisements for the Epic Games Store, a G-Sync PC monitor for anyone who knows or cares about what that means, and a gaming chair, because every time you sit down to play video games, you should feel like you're getting into a spaceship. Not to mention Terraria Journey's End, the final update for the game, which has a Comic Sans logo. And speaking of all the dignity and grace that you would expect out of someone who uses Comic Sans, Ubisoft for once actually wasn't a terrible conference. My favorite part was when they ripped off Kingsman: The Secret Service, and watching that old lady electrocute all those cops. Give it to you. I've never played any of the Watch Dogs games, but the concepts behind Watch Dogs Legion actually make me kind of excited, because I don't think there's ever been a game where every NPC is playable, not to the same degree as Watch Dogs Legion, so I think that's actually pretty exciting and innovative. But of course they had to lose all their steam with a TV show trailer, because this is Ubisoft and this is a games convention and we're gonna advertise TV. The Adventure Time characters are joining Brawlhalla and they look beautiful. John Bernthal showed up with his dog, and I feel like that would have been a way better selling point had his thunder not been stolen by Keanu Reeves. They then advertised mobile games because, again, this is a video game conference and hardcore gamers really care about games on your phone. Just Dance 2020 performed a live musical number on stage because it's Ubisoft, we're gonna have a live dance number on stage. Gamers care about this! Just Dance 2020 is also the only game being released in 2020 rendered in stunning, incredible 480p graphics for the Nintendo Wii, the console that's a decade old. Ubisoft announced Uplay Plus, their premium service, because they want all of your money. Roller Champions is a roller rink basketball game that looks kinda cool, I guess. I don't know, they didn't show gameplay. But the thing that really got me was actually sort of shoved in the middle. It's this really interesting game called Gods and Monsters. Basically, it's the baby of all of the Greek mythology study that the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team did to make that game, now making this very cutesy, cel-shaded game that has been described as very similar to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is also one of my favorite games ever, and I adore Greek mythology, so I'm all about this right off the bat. It comes out February 2020, and I'm sort of making the mistake of being excited about an Ubisoft game, but I don't know, it looks cool. Ubisoft then ended their conference on an absolute banger by very awkwardly switching the stream to a Rainbow Six competitive match between T-Pain and Lil Yachty. I really don't know what else I could have expected from them. Between conferences, Obsidian, the makers of Fallout Revenge of the Mailman, announced that The Outer Worlds, their new game, will come out October 25th, 2019. It promises all the fun of the studio who developed a Fallout game without all of the bugs of a studio who developed a Fallout game. This is the tea. Square Enix was a really weird conference. It started off on a very strong note by showing a lot of very fast-paced, exciting, innovative new gameplay from Final Fantasy VII Remastered, and then it came to a screeching halt with an hour-long sizzle reel of a lot of Japanese import strategy games. Like, that was basically all that they did. If you're into those, that's fine. It just doesn't really appeal to me personally. But finally, at the end of the conference, they gave in to the hundreds of screaming fans in the Twitch chat begging for new information on the Avengers game, and they delivered. The Avengers project is by Crystal Dynamics, the makers of the 2013 Tomb Raider franchise, which is one of my favorite game series ever. And I'm very excited about it because it's got 4-player co-op as all these different superheroes, and I think that third-person over-the-shoulder shooter action and the very cinematic, intense storytelling will transfer over very well to a property like the Avengers. 5 characters are playable: Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, and Black Widow, but no Hawkeye. And Captain America dies in the trailer, so we'll see how that turns out. But he also was killed in the explosion of the Terrigen power core powering the Avengers' new helicarrier. For those of you who don't know, Terrigen or the Terrigen mists were the things that gave the Inhumans their superpowers, so maybe he'll have some kind of comic book resurrection that way. It's really hard to say at this point, but that's just a theory. A game theory! Jeez, I've redlined the audio so much in this video already. They've promised a growing roster of superheroes and new regions to be available. It sounds like they're really kind of treating it as a games as a service kind of game with continuous updating, but they've said all the DLC is going to be free, so I'm very excited about the directions that'll be able to go. It comes out May 15th, 2020 for PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC. I heard after the conference that Iron Man PSVR has a single-player campaign that they're saying is above 6 hours. They've had gameplay available in a limited context, and it sounds very well received. But I'm excited because there are not a lot of games that feature a really full-bodied, full-length, single-player campaign available for VR right now. I'm just gonna come out and say it up front, Nintendo Direct had the best conference at E3. New Smash reveals, the hero from Dragon Quest, and Banjo-Kazooie. Luigi's Mansion 3, gameplay footage of Link's Awakening which looks incredible. A Nintendo Switch port of The Witcher Ultimate Edition. Finally a sequel to No More Heroes. Crypt of the Necrodancer Cadence of Hyrule. And my favorite announcement, Sonic and Mario Tokyo 2020! I'm just kidding, it's Animal Crossing. In the new Animal Crossing, you and a couple of your friends set out to populate a beautiful remote island. They had to push the date back to March 20th, 2020, but it's like your boy Shigeru said. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. But don't worry, Tom Nook still wants all your money. You can also have the final say in where all of your animal pals build their houses, so they don't shove it directly into the middle of an apple orchard that you meticulously planned out and built and spent weeks laying the groundwork for. Fauna! It's okay though, I still love you, girl. This is just a minor thing, but I'm actually really excited about the Hollow Knight port coming to Switch. The Switch, I think, is a console that genuinely does make gameplay experiences different than if you play them on like PC or other consoles. And Hollow Knight is one of those games that I feel like I would really like, but I feel like I'd appreciate it the most on Switch, so I'm glad it's finally getting there. And Nintendo closed out their conference strong with no release date or new title for a Breath of the Wild sequel that's currently in development. I'm so excited, you guys. I have so many theories about the trailer. Oh my god. Okay, so now we're going to meticulously disassemble the entire... Oh, what? We're out of time. It's my video, though. I can make it as long as I want. Okay. So that about does it for E3 2019. Like I said, I think Nintendo Direct was very, very strong, but overall, I think it was not that great of a convention otherwise. I'm most excited, obviously, about the Breath of the Wild sequel, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Ubisoft's Gods and Monsters, the Blair Witch game, and Crystal Dynamics' The Avengers Project. I also have to admit that I'm a little disappointed in what Microsoft did this year. It's not that I had terribly high expectations for what Microsoft was going to do, the opposite, in fact. I talk about it a lot in the amusement park video. It's that Microsoft didn't do anything to mitigate those complaints that I have. So they're pretty much confirming the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One without a lot of very good IP. And I think that's a little bit unfortunate. So that's the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being patient. This took me a really long time to do because my first pass at this video was like 40 minutes when I'd cut it down. And I really wasn't interested in editing or posting that, so this one I can already tell is way better. I think E3 is such an interesting time of year for the games community because nobody is as excited or as hateful as the hardcore gaming community. So coming off of E3 every year, there invariably are a pretty even divide of people who are like, this E3 was amazing or this E3 was garbage. Now come to think of it, it's not really a very even divide. Most people say it's garbage. I think E3 is like Christmas for gamers, if every Christmas you knew you were going to get punched in the face. You're also promised that you'll get presents in 6 months, so Good. So thanks so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out my comedy shorts if you haven't done that yet. I have a lot more of those coming out soon. I have a video essay in the works that I'm very excited about. And now that I'm done with this video, I can get back to dating those sexy, sexy monsters. Vera is the hottest character, but Scott is the most fun. See ya!